Hi, Masa. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's because before we podcast, I'm going not now, but later I'm going to make a video explaining who you are and what you do. But then, I mean, now we can start with with these topics that I sent you. So yeah, well, I know that you are focused on the plastic world or in this microplastic filter. So I wanted to ask you, um, what are these microplastics?
Yeah,
These
absolutely.
so-called microplastics. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all, and thank you so much for talking about microplastic. It's an issue that's so often overlooked because microplastic, as the name tells you, are really, really small pieces of plastics. So, when you see a water bottle or a like an empty plastic bag on the beach or anywhere in the nature, it's very obvious. It's easy to notice it, and it's also relatively simple to pick it up and dispose of it. But with microplastics, by definition, microplastics is all plastic that is smaller than 5 millimeters. And we actually distinguish between two types of microplastics. So we can speak about primary microplastics. So these are microplastics that are produced small. So any plastic that's produced and smaller than 5 millimeters in size, that's primary microplastic. We often call them microbeads, and microfibers, about which we will be talking a lot today, are also a subgroup of microplastics.
Okay.
So they are small, but as the name implies, they are not like round shape, but they are rather a fiber. And then we have a second kind of source of microplastic, if you wish. So that's secondary microplastic. And that's microplastic, again, that's smaller than 5 millimeters in size, but it was not produced as such. So if you have a water bottle floating around in the sea or lying around in the forest, eventually, because of weather, the radiation, and all the other conditions that it's exposed to, it will start degrading. And eventually it will degrade to pieces that are smaller than 5 millimeters, which will classify it as a microplastic.
And so the main source of these microplastics are like bottles or this, I mean, water bottles, or it's more like more disposable stuff. Like what is the main source of these? The clothes or?
Well, so I have this number for you that might be kind of able to paint a picture. Every single year, and it's a number from a study that was done by UCN. 1.5 million tons of primary microplastics are released into the ocean. So that's just primary microplastic. Primary microplastics is also tire dust when we're driving around in cars and buses and other vehicles. Tires degrade as well. So tire dust is also a big source of primary microplastic. And then microfibers. So out of this 1.5 million tons of primary microplastics that ends up in the oceans, 35% of these microplastics comes from washing synthetic textiles.
Okay.
So, it's a lot. And then by comparison, I can give you another number from another study that was done, that on average, each and every one of us eats about 5 grams of plastic every single week. So that's as if you just ate a credit card every week.
Yeah. Wow. Like a full credit card.
Yeah. I mean, we're laughing, but it's
yeah. So each one of us,
worrying.
has plastic inside.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the health issues is sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of, I'm really trying to paint a picture of, how widespread the microplastics, and, at PlanetCare, we deal with microfibers because we deal with filters for microfibers. So there was another study done that found that out of 97 water samples that were taken in the Arctic, 96 of them had microplastics in them.
Wow.
So that's all but one. And then out of those, more than 92% were microfibers. So it's really prevalent. And what's worrying as well is that these samples were taken at depths where marine life feeds. And we know that, microplastic is so small that marine organisms mistake it for food. They eat it. So microplastics, microfibers, they enter the food chain, they travel up the food chain, and then ultimately they end up back on our plates. Microplastics have been found in our food, in our tap water. It's been found in the placenta. It's been found in human blood. So it really, really is everywhere, because it's so small. It's highly mobile. And also, when it moves around, when it travels around, additional toxins bind to these tiny particles. So that all just kind of piles up and never really disappears.
So in terms of size, they might be as big as plankton, or so they are so tiny that they can be
yes.
as mistaken for food. Yeah. Wow. Well, and so I guess that it's very hard. I mean, right now it's very hard to clean the oceans, right? I mean, now maybe the first focus is to prevent them to end up in the oceans, right? I mean, that's where you develop a role, right? Yeah. Like you are.
I mean, we at PlanetCare, we always say, any plastic, macro or microplastic, has no place in the environment. It's a man-made material with a specific set of properties that come highly useful, but it does not have a place in the nature. And like I said at the beginning, it's relatively simple to pick up a plastic bag or a plastic bottle. But with microplastic, usually, once it's out there, once it's dispersed in the water column, in the sea, in the oceans, once it's in the soil, it's really, really difficult, if not impossible, to get it out.
Because from our homes to the oceans, all the way to the oceans, until now, there is no way to, the filter that we use, used by the administrators or the government, they are not capable of erasing these microplastics, right? I mean, they are so tiny that it's it's impossible to detect or to catch it. And so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a very important point. So, as we all know, the water that leaves our homes goes to wastewater treatment plants in most instances. So, wastewater treatment plants do, to some extent, filter out the microplastic in the wastewater, but that's only the first step. It's very important what then happens, after that is filtered out. And when that's filtered out, it ends up in the wastewater treatment plant's sludge. And unless the countries incinerate the sludge, which some countries do, but very often that's not the case, this sludge is reapplied to land. So we're basically just moving the pollution from the water and we put it onto the soil. So ultimately it still ends up in the environment.
Wow. So it's a big problem, yeah. So I guess that a few years ago, PlanetCare came up with this idea of making a filter. to prevent these microplastics and so above all microfibers, right, from going to the oceans. And so how, well, I don't know if, well, I want to ask how this idea came up, and or how your filter works.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. So, so our founder, she was visiting a exhibition about marine litter, about marine pollution, with her family. And, you know, just walking around and looking at things, she realized that just because she's washing clothes, she's sending millions of tiny plastic microfibers into the oceans every single week. And she was horrified. You know, she didn't know there was this invisible pollution that was kind of leaving her home, and she had no idea. You know, because today over 60% of our clothes. So if we checked our labels now, I think maybe we're not a good example at the moment because it looks like we're both wearing cotton, but over 60% of the clothes today are made from synthetic fabric. And a lot of people don't know that synthetic means plastic. So it's made from, you know, oil or gas. So, and, you know, when we wash these clothes, tiny plastic microfibers shed, they go down the drain and ultimately end up in the oceans. You know, as I said at the beginning, 35% of all the microplastic coming into the oceans comes from washing synthetic textiles. So she learned about this and she was horrified. She was, I don't wanna do this. You know, cars have filters, pollution stopping filters. Why don't washing machines have filters to stop this pollution? So kind of like that's how it all started. Eventually our founder, she left her job. She's a lawyer otherwise, and she founded PlanetCare. She gathered a team, and what about now, 5 years later, we are the leading developer and provider of microfiber filters for washing machines. So we have a domestic retrofit microfiber filter that fits on every existing washing machine. It's cartridge based. It's very simple to use. You simply attach it to your washing machine. It was very important to us from the very beginning that installation is very easy and that you don't require any, you know, kind of plumbing knowledge or extra tools. You just need
That's very important.
Yeah,
that's very wise. Yeah, to make it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. So that really anyone can do it, and it doesn't. So, and to make sure that it doesn't take a lot of people's time, because we know, we appreciate everyone's busy. So we wanted to make this as easy and as seamless as possible. So the domestic retrofit filter, I'm assuming you have a washing machine at home, you would get a filter from us. You attach it to the side of your washing machine. You take the hose that is currently going from your washing machine into the drain, you take it off, you attach it to the filter, and we provide you with an extra hose. Then you then connect to the filter, and then it goes down the drain. So everything's nicely linked. You get the extra hose. And then, as I mentioned, the filter is cartridge based. So you insert a cartridge would last about 20 washes. After that, it's filled with fibers and you have to replace it. Again, it was very important that this is not burdensome, that it's not difficult, that it's easy and quick. So it really takes like 2 minutes to do that. And you insert a new cartridge and you can keep filtering. But this is, kind of then the question that we get asked the most is, what happens with these used cartridges? Because, now that we've filtered out the microfibers, what happens with them? So this is another thing that was very important to us from the very beginning, is that we offer a closed loop service. So
that was my next question. So now you are answering.
Yeah, it's the number one question we get asked. So we always explain it because, it's important to us, and we know that it's important to everyone because everyone asks about this, and it's a really important question. So when you have a few of the used cartridges, you contact us and we book a courier, and the courier collects the used cartridges from all our users free of charge, and the used cartridges are sent back to us for refurbishment. So the cartridge is basically made of two parts. So there's the outer casing. The outer casing gets washed. We put a new filtering medium in, and we send the cartridge back to a new customer. The 5%, so that's 95% of the cartridge. The 5%, which is actually the filtering medium with the fibers, we collect that. So we have identified a solution to convert these used filtering mediums with microfibers into industrial insulation mat. But this is industrial scale recycling. So we need sufficient quantities first. So at the moment, we have boxes and boxes and boxes of this in our warehouse. We're safely storing them to really ensure that nothing gets re-released back into the nature. And as soon as we have sufficient quantities, we will recycle them. In the meantime, because we would rather be doing something with them immediately than when we have sufficient quantities, we are continuously looking for alternative solutions. So as soon as we find something that repurposes the fibers, and that it's sustainable, we would like to opt for that option. But we've identified a solution, but we are on the lookout for other solutions all the time, because
of course,
to kind of put it very briefly, we don't want to send this to landfill, and we do not want to incinerate this filtering mediums.
And how many cartridges, if one buys your filter, how many cartridges does this person get?
We offer two options. So we have a mini starter kit with which you get all the mounting equipment, so like the filter housing and the hose and the piece to attach the filter to the washing machine, and 3 cartridges. So because a cartridge lasts about 20 washes, an average European family does approximately 5 washes per week. So we say, if you're an average user, a cartridge will last you about a month. Okay. So with 3 cartridges, with average use, you're covered for 3 months. Then we also have an extra large starter kit. That one comes with 13 cartridges. So again, the whole kind of mounting equipment plus 13 cartridges.
Okay, and what? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on.
And then for all our European users, we have the option of subscription, where after they get a mini starter kit, they can subscribe, they pay a monthly fee, and we send them cartridges in bulk. So a lot of people opt for that option, because then they pay monthly, and when they run out, we just send them new automatically, and they don't have to pay anything extra.
Well, I think that's a good offer. I mean, that's a good option. The subscription way, yeah. And once one cartridge is used up, what one has to do? What do you have to do with this cartridge?
We want to just make it as easy and as friendly for our customers as possible. So they can either go on our website, and there is an online form. They fill in the details. They choose when they want the cartridges collected. So, we appreciate that people go to work, people have busy lives. So they can tell us, please schedule the pickup for Tuesday, because I'm not at home on Monday. And then we get notified about this. we book the collection, and we email the return shipping label to the customer. Or, if they don't, we communicate with all our customers, which URL address to go to find this form. But and it's linked throughout our website. But if someone doesn't find this form, they can simply email us and we arrange everything.
Okay. I have a question about numbers. I don't know if you have. Just out of curiosity, how many microfibers can one washing machine deliver? I mean, just one washing machine use. How many particles, or is that estimate?
Yes, so there was a study done by the Plymouth University that found that an average 6-kilo load of laundry releases over 700,000 microfibers. And then they were testing different types of, because different types of clothes and textiles that they were washing. And they found that acrylic fabrics shed the most, and then polyester fabrics come in, and then the polycotton blend. So that's a blend of polyester and cotton. And, once you get once you start putting more attention to this, and you start really regularly checking the clothes tag before you buy your clothes, you will see that, something that used to be like just a cotton shirt is now more often a polycotton blend. So you'll have like 60% cotton and 40% polyester. So yeah, that's what the study found. But what we've been facing ourselves as well, that it's maybe really difficult to imagine, 700,000 microfibers. And we've done some estimates and calculations and tests in our lab. So what we found is that, again, an average person that washes averagely will release a plastic bag worth of microfibers every week. So this is kind of
times the population, the whole population, right?
To understand.
So many bags, yeah. Wow. And because I do a lot of sport, so sometimes I use these like sports clothing. Yeah. Are they the worst because they are like synthetic? I mean, do we have to worry? Do we have to worry about these clothes over other clothes, or just you know what I mean? Or like we have to put the microfilter and that's it.
I mean, we always say, the best way to avoid plastic microfiber pollution is to choose clothes made of natural fabrics. That's like cotton, linen, wool, etc. So make no mistake, these fabrics shed as well. So when you wash a cotton t-shirt, it will shed microfibers as well, but the fibers that it will shed are cotton. So, it's a natural material and it will eventually biodegrade. But the thing is that often, the clothes are colorful, and then the dyes that are used in the dyeing process are toxic as well. And then again, also once this is in the environment, as I've mentioned before, these tiny particles, other toxins attached to them, and that they're like a carrying kind of vehicle to other toxins to then enter, our food chain. But ultimately, so the best way to stop plastic microfibers is to avoid synthetic clothes. But with over 60% of clothes being synthetic, that's not really realistic. And like you said, maybe you can opt for a cotton t-shirt and for predominantly cotton for your day-to-day life. But when it comes to activewear, when you go for a run, a synthetic t-shirt has just, it has much better properties, and that's why you have it, because, it's better. So I guess, as with everything, you have to kind of see what really works for you. So, and then we always say that, we all need to make sure that we just buy less clothes and that we take good care of our clothes so that we have them longer, that, you know, if something tears, you mend it. And then just ultimately also what we can all do is wash less. You know, do you really have to wash every single thing after, you know, if you wore something for a couple of hours, is it really dirty? Does it have to be washed? So there are other steps. So we always say, you know, there are many things one can do to prevent plastic microfiber pollution. As I said, you know, opt for natural fabrics when that's possible, wash less, and then ultimately, you know, when you do wash the synthetic clothes that you have, use a microfiber filter so that you kind of like do all the things that you ultimately pollute as little as possible.
And is there a way to optimize this prevention? I mean, if we lower or if we raise the temperature of the water, that can does this have any effect? Does this have anything to do with?
So there were a few studies made, and they found that if you wash fuller loads, they will shed less microfibers. And that also, if you use shorter cycles, there will be less shedding.
Of course. Okay.
So, and
less
kind
exposure,
of,
yeah. Sorry.
The fuller loads, I think, you know, it's something that's really a win-win on many levels. So it's great that there's less shedding, but also, you know, just kind of if we go beyond just the microfiber shedding and sustainable laundry routines, you know, if you do fuller loads, you will do fewer loads, you will use less energy, etc., etc. You will wash clothes less. So it's kind of it has multiple benefits.
Okay. Well. Okay. Very, very interesting. And so you said that you can send you can send your microfilter to Barcelona or to Spain, right? You
Yes,
have
absolutely.
where we are based. Yeah. So yes, go ahead. Yeah.
We have quite a few customers in Spain already, so that's not a problem at all.
So if some of our audience wants to get one of your microfilters, they should go to your website, to your PlanetCare website, and order one, right?
Yes, so that's the best way to do it. You go onto our website, which is www.planetcare.org, and we have an online shop. It's standard online shop that people are used to nowadays. You place an order, we carefully pack it, and we ship it.
Okay. That's so amazing. That's so how long does it take? I mean, how long does it take to get one of your PlanetCare? Like, 1 week or yeah?
It's a few days. So it really depends a little bit on the courier service, but within Europe, it's a couple of days, regardless of the end country. And we ship twice a week. So we ship twice a week. But you know, if someone is really needs the filter, you know, immediately, you know, they can always email us and just say, you know what, this filter is expected to be here on Friday. Is there any way, you know, you ship it immediately, and we always go above and beyond to make our customers happy. So that's not a problem at all.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I have one last question. And this question is, how do you see the future? I mean, how do you see the near future or the far future, but well, in general, how do you see the future of the world in this aspect, of course, but in whatever you want to say about about sustainability and environment.
So at PlanetCare, we are working, and you know, everything that we do because we see a future in which every single washing machine, so be it an existing washing machines that are in homes nowadays, or a new washing machine, we're speaking about domestic, will have a pollution stopping filter. But then also going beyond that. So PlanetCare also has a solution. We have a commercial filter. So that is a bigger filter, a bigger microfiber filter for the service industry. So, you know, everywhere where they wash 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So hotels, laundrettes, facilities, etc. So we already have a commercial filter available for businesses. We have also in the past installed a version of an industrial microfiber filter at a textile plant in India. It was part of a project that we were included in. So, you know, ultimately, we want every single washing machine, so be it a domestic washing machine, commercial washing machine, or an industrial washing machine, to be equipped with a microfiber filter. But also importantly, you know, we were talking about the retrofit domestic microfiber filter, which you can buy today. You attach it to your existing washing machine. But what we are also developing, and you know where things need to go, is that these filters need to be built into washing machines. So the next time you buy a washing machine, it will already come with a microfiber filter. So we are also developing that, but it's kind of, you know, it's not very straightforward. It doesn't just happen, okay, microfiber filters have to have filters, let's just build them in. So in fact, you know, even today, there's only one country that made microfiber filters mandatory, and that's France. So,
France, wow.
Yeah. So in France, from 2025 onwards, all new washing machines will have to come with a built-in microfiber filter. And at PlanetCare, we are very proud that our existing domestic retrofit filter and everything that we do was used as proof. So we were sitting at a table with the French government before they passed this legislation, because they used PlanetCare as proof of concept, because they needed to see, you know, that this is possible, that this can be done, and then also that there is a demand for it, that this is something that people want. And because we had thousands of users, we were able to say, look, we've done it, it works, it's closed loop solution, it's simple, and
I need it.
so we always say to our customers that, you know, when you buy a retrofit filter today, you're really doing two things. You are stopping microfiber pollution today. So you are stopping a bag worth of plastic microfibers from being released into the ocean, into the nature every week. But also, our community is fueling a much broader transition. So we're talking about systemic change now. Because we had the community of users, you know, we were able to show that there is a demand for this, and then legislation was passed. And at the moment, France is the only country that made that mandatory. Hopefully, you know, hopefully other countries will join suit. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen as quickly as we would want. So, but I think, you know, it's a great example of how, you know, kind of going from the other way, from bottom up. We've managed, you know, legislations change, and, you know, hopefully very soon other countries will also. But there's another kind of consideration, you know, once that is passed, when someone buys a washing machine, you know, you hope to use it for many, many years. So if you buy a new washing machine just before this legislation is passed, you know, this washing machine will still be polluting for many, many years to come. So we think, you know, there's a great need to have both a retrofit option and a built-in option. But we are very much fighting for systemic change, so that, you know, this is really fully prevented on all levels as much as possible.
Wow, I mean, this seems so so positive, yeah, so optimistic. I mean, I think the world is changing a little bit, yeah. Micro steps, micro step, but yeah, instead of microfiber, micro step. But yeah, wow, amazing. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time and for your, of course, your project and your future. We'll try to buy one. We'll try to buy one or more than one, and we'll try to propose to our people that wants to buy to make their own homes, their own wooden homes, to install your microfiber filter to their homes, yeah, to their washing machines.
Yes, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I hope this was informative and useful.
It is.
And really thank you so much for inviting us and for talking about this on your podcast, because as I've said at the beginning, a lot of people still don't know about this. So we are working very hard to just also push this pollution into the spotlight so that people know that there is a problem. Because until you don't know that you're polluting because you're washing clothes, why would you want a solution? So, you know, we need to do both. We need to raise awareness.
Yeah.
So we're very grateful
Raise awareness,
for invitations like yours, so that, you know, this is something that we talk about, so that people find out about it and they can decide if they want to do something about it. And then also, when, you know, when we have the awareness that there is a simple and effective solution.
Yeah, and easy to set up. Very easy. Easy to use. Thank you a lot, Maša. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.